This is Shoreline Secrets, a quiet love story told in tides and turning light. In the way two hearts learn not just to find each other, but to stay. Time has moved forward, but what they share has only grown steadier. Jamie and Sam are together now, not guessing, not hiding, just learning what it means to love with both feet on the same shore. Now it's the holidays. Jamie's gone home to London, and Sam is coming up to see his world. This is Shoreline Secrets, Letters to Keep, a winter special story about love that found its place, about friendship that makes room for it, and the things we choose to keep, not to hold them back, but to help them last. Paddington breathes like a heart made of glass and steel, trains exhaling, people brushing past with coats half buttoned, light turning each track into a ribbon of moving reflection. Jamie stood just beyond the arrival board, scarves loose around his neck, a paper cup warming his hands. The clock edged toward 10 when Sam appeared at the top of the stairs. Backpacks long, hair slightly damp from the December mist. He spotted Jamie first, that instinct he always had. Like his eyes went searching before his mind caught up. The grin that followed wasn't loud, but it reached every corner of him. Jamie didn't wave. One look between them was enough to close the distance that city space insisted on. And then, without asking permission, Sam leaned in, pressing a soft kiss to his cheek. A few people turned to glance, and neither of them cared. The noise of the station folded into a hush that felt almost deliberate. "Welcome to London," Jamie said. They walked through the wide arches where the cold waited just beyond the doors. London smelled of wet stone and roasted chestnuts, and the sound of Buscar's guitar carried faintly through the air. Jamie kept close enough for their sleeves to brush. It wasn't the kind of closeness that asked. It was the kind that remembered. Sam looked around as they stepped into the light. "So this is your world before the sea?" Jamie nodded. "Show me everything," Sam said. "Rosa will probably get there first," Jamie answered. That name made Sam grin. "Rosa. How nervous should I be?" Jamie smirked. "Depends. She likes honesty, hates pretension, and loves gossip. So basically you're opposite," Sam teased. "Exactly," Jamie said, hailing a cab. "That's why she's family." They loaded the bag, and for a moment, Sam looked up at the winter sky, that specific London gray that seemed to belong to no hour in particular. He leaned against the cab door before getting in, just to take one last look at the station's arched ceiling. The door closed with a soft click, and the city began to move. The cab curved through the city, past graced terraces strung with early lights. London in winter had a way of looking older but kinder, as if every brick had decided to forgive the rain. Jamie pointed out landmarks as they passed. Half embarrassed, half proud, Sam watched the reflection slide over the window glass. Bus headlights, people with red scarves, a dog shaking itself dry beside a puddle that held a piece of the sky. When they reached Camden, the streets were alive. In the quiet way of a weekday morning, steam rose from the vents of the coffee shops. The market stalls were still setting up, their tarps flapping like slow wings. The cafe sat at the corner of a narrow lane, painted green, the sign chipped just enough to prove it had been loved. Inside, worms gathered low, a mix of espresso and cinnamon, music just loud enough to keep secrets from being overheard. Rosa was already there, arms folded, grin sharp as ever. "You must be Sam," she said before Jamie could finish the introduction. "The one who steals all his good moods." Sam laughed, a little startled. "I wouldn't say steal. Maybe just land." She appraised him the way a painter studies light. Polite, handsome. Jamie groaned. "Rosa, please. Relax," she said, waving him off. Sam smiled, softened. "Guess that's me. Sorry for the collateral happiness That earned him Rosa's laugh. The real one. The kind that could fix weather. Oh, you're good. No wonder he writes longer messages now. Jamie covered his face with his hands. I hate both of you. No, you don't, Rosa said, sliding a cup toward him. You love us for being right. Outside, the world kept on. Buses passing, strangers wrapped in coats, the hum of a city that didn't mind being watched. Inside, the three of them built a rhythm almost instantly. Rosa teased. Sam returned serve with easy calm. Jamie, somewhere between fondness and defeat, let it all happen. So, Rosa said, stirring her drink lazily. House life near the sea. Jamie lifted his cup. Sam grinned. He watches the sunrise more than I do. Lies, Jamie said. He's the one who makes coffee before the seagulls wake up. Oh, that's disgusting, Rosa said, delighted. You're one of those couples, sharing morning light and responsibility. Only sometimes, Sam said. Mostly we just share quiet. That line hung there for a beat. Honest, unguarded, unplanned. Rosa looked between them, then smiled small. Like she'd just seen something rare. Well, she said softly, I'm glad you found someone. Jamie's hand found Sam's under the table. The quick brush that said everything words didn't need to. They spent the late morning wanderings through stalls, scarves, candles, second-hand books that smelled of 100 stories. Rosa kept dragging them toward anything that glittered. Jamie pretended to protest. Sam secretly loved watching both of them. By noon, the street had filled with music. Someone was selling roasted chestnuts. Another strummed a guitar near the bridge. Rosa leaned into Jamie and whispered, You're happy. You know that? He smiled without answering. She turned to Sam. And you? Don't ruin him. Sam laughed. I'll do my best. Wrong answer, she said, eyes glinting. You better not. He looked at her then, the way people do when they realize someone else truly cares for the person they love. Promise. I'm starving. And somehow, that was enough. After some street food, Rosa insisted on walking, claiming London deserved to be seen on foot. Jamie knew these streets, every shortcut, every street lamp that still flickered, every corner where he once stood waiting for a life that hadn't arrived yet. Walking them beside Sam made the familiar feel rewritten. The buildings looked less like memories and more like witnesses. They stopped at a stall selling ornaments and postcards. Rosa examined everything like a detective. Sam drifted a few steps ahead, drawn toward a small shop topped between two galleries. Its window displayed was dimly lit. Old frames, hand-bound journals, glass cases lined with maps and pressed flowers. It looked like a place where the past waited politely to be noticed. Jamie followed. This one's been here forever, he said, as the doorbell gave a tired chime. Inside, dust turned the light soft. A radio hummed quietly somewhere in the back. The kind of song that didn't need remembering to feel known. Sam wandered past shelves, fingertips gazing wooden edges as if greeting each one. He stopped before a framed card from a pale oak. It was simple, the borders etched with faint wave patterns. Not decorative, just honest. The kind of thing made by someone who understood what the sea meant to people who missed it. This one, Sam said. Jamie stepped beside him. For Edward. For the letters. Sam smiled. Feels like it was waiting for them. Jamie nodded, the soft landing gently. The two of them stood a moment longer, side by side, letting the quiet fill around them. At the counter, Sam fished into his jacket for his wallet and realized he didn't have enough cash. He looked up at the clerk with a sheepish grin. I might have miscalculated how expensive old wood is. Jamie stepped closer, already pulling out his car. We'll take it. Jamie, don't argue, Jamie said softly, eyes steady. You found it. Let me do this part. Sam hesitated, then gave in. smiling in that quiet way he did when gratitude outweighed pride. Rosa, who just wandered in, pretended to examine a stack of travel postcards by the door, but her glance toward the counter was too deliberate. When Jamie caught it, she raised an eyebrow. The universal, "I saw that expression," and looked away before he could react. As the clerk wrapped the frame in brown paper, Rosa joined them. "So did we find a gift for the mysterious great-uncle?" Sam lifted the package. "We did. Was a bit of a teamwork." Rosa smiled. "That's code for someone paid while I wasn't looking, isn't it?" Jamie groaned. "You never miss anything." "Of course not," she said. "You go pink every time you do something kind." Sam laughed. "He does, doesn't he?" Jamie tried and failed to look annoyed. "I'm surrounded by bullies. We call it affection. You'll survive." They stepped back onto the street. The sky had dulled, edges softening before dusk. Rosa's laughter floated ahead of them. Sam's footstep matched Jamie's without needing to try. Rosa leaned out, her hair catching the wind. "You know," she said, "I thought I'd be third-wheeling today. But you two make it look easy, like something that was always meant to happen." She smiled, brushing her hands together against the cold. "Come on, lovebirds. I'm buying dessert." Jamie and Sam followed, and the frame, wrapped neatly in brown paper, swung gently between their hands. It felt heavier than it should, not because of what it cost, but because of what it meant. They found a bench beneath an old iron streetlight. Rosa tore the cream donut bag open and passed around the sweets. Jamie and Sam bit into theirs. They sat there a while, just watching the world slow down. Rosa leaned her head against Jamie's shoulder, sighing. "This city forgets how beautiful it is until people like you remind it." Jamie glanced at her. "You're getting sentimental." "It's the sugar," she said. Sam smiled at her, soft and sincere. She blinked, pretending to study her donut. Then she said, standing, "Come on. It's getting late." They walked back through the streets, the sound of shoe against wet pavement steady and familiar. At the corner, where they first met that morning, Rosa stopped. The street behind her glowed warm. Jamie pulled her into a hug, long and tight. "Thank you." "For what?" Rosa asked. "For being exactly who you are," he said. She held him a second longer before stepping back. "You try not to mess it up," nodding at Sam. "He's one of the good ones." "I know." Rosa smiled, satisfied. "That's what I thought." She turned to go, waving over her shoulder. "Now go home before London eats you alive." "Love you," Jamie called after her. "I love you too." "You should," she shouted back, disappearing into the crowd. The night closed around them, quieter now. Jamie watched her vanish beyond the lights, then turned to Sam. "She's something else," he said. Sam nodded. "Yeah. But I get it now. Why you missed her." They stood there for a moment, side by side, the frame between them wrapped tight under Sam's arm. The world smelled of rain and cinnamon, and London, for once, didn't rush them. Jamie squeezed his hand. "Come on. Mom's probably already setting the table." They walked toward the entrance of the tube, the city behind them glowing like a held breath. And somewhere inside that glow, between laughter and light, and the promise of home, the day settled into the kind of memory that would last. House stood shoulder to shoulder, like old friends, windows lit in shades of gold. Jamie's mother opened the door when they knocked. Sam stepped forward, polite and nervous in equal measure. The house was small but alive. Photographs, stacked books, a smell of rosemary and roasted vegetables. The kitchen light glowed warm as breath. Dinner wasn't formal. It didn't need to be. They ate around a round table that had seen too many birthdays to count. Conversation ran easy. School, Cornwall, Edward's house. Rose's latest text that Jamie's mother insisted on hearing it aloud. When the plates were cleared and the kettle put back on, Jamie's mother opened the linen closet. Couch bed for you, Sam. It pulls out easily. Sheets are clean. But if it gets too cold, the extra blankets in the chest by the stairs. Thank you, Sam said. Don't thank me yet, she teased. You haven't seen the couch. The couch was small but soft. The kind of couch that sagged in all the right places. Sam unfolded it, laid out the blanket. Upstairs footsteps creaked, Jamie moving about, the old rhythm of the house coming alive again. Jamie changed quietly, brushed his teeth, then stopped halfway to his bed. The house hummed faintly, the radiator's steady breath, the whisper of wind outside. He hesitated only a moment before slipping out into the hall, barefoot on a cold wood. Downstairs, the living room was lit by the faint glow of the street lamp through thin curtains. Sam lay on his back, half asleep, hair mussed against the pillow. Jamie paused in the doorway. You're still awake? Sam opened one eye. Jamie crossed the room, knelt beside the couch. I didn't want to wake you. You didn't, Sam murmured. Jamie smiled, small and helpless, then slipped under the blanket beside him. The couch wasn't built for two, but they fit anyway. Knees brushing, shoulders pressed close. The kind of closeness that makes space out of nothing. They lay there in the dim, the silence comfortable, unhurried. Jamie traced a line along Sam's wrist, a gesture more thought than touch. Good night, he whispered. Sam smiled, already drifting. Night, Jamie. The couch became its own kind of harbor, small, warm, and enough. The night was almost over when Jamie opened his eyes, but the faintest creak from upstairs reminded him exactly where he was. Sam lay asleep beside him, half curled under the blanket. His face was peaceful in the pale spill of street light, and for a long moment, Jamie just watched. The quiet rise and fall of breath, the small twitch of a dream. Another floorboard murmured above. His mother, up early, probably checking the weather. Jamie bit his lip, whispering, if she see this, I'm doomed. Sam didn't move. She already knows, he murmured, barely awake. Jamie grinned, half whisper, half sigh. That's not the point. He lingered one more heartbeat, brushed a hand through Sam's hair, then slipped out of the blanket, feet meeting the cold floor. He crossed the room quietly, glancing back once. Sam still asleep, lips curved faintly as if the dream had turned kind. Jamie smiled, the kind of smile that only happens when no one's watching, and padded upstairs before the next board could betray him. In his room, he fell onto the bed, heart still steady from laughter he couldn't make noise for. He slept again, before the light reached the windowsill. When he woke, the house was stirring. His mother was at the door, scarf looped, keys jingling. Oh, morning, love, she said. I'm heading out for a few things. I'll pick up some bread and few groceries before we drive down. Need help? Jamie asked. She waved him off. You've got your guest. Make him breakfast, pack the car, and behave yourselves. I'll be back before 10. Right, Jamie said, smiling. She kissed his cheek, already halfway out the door. And tell him he can have the last of the honey. You never liked it anyway. The door closed behind her. The house fell back into soft morning quiet. By 10, the car was packed. Jamie's mother returned with a paper bag of pastries, cheeks red from the cold. Sam helped carry the bags to the car, while Jamie checked the route on his phone. The drive ahead was long but familiar, the kind of road that teaches patience more than distance. They left the city just as the clouds began to lift. The road stretched silver under a pale sun, fields open wide and quiet. Sam sat in the back, head leaning on his arm, gaze turned outward. The further they went, the clearer the air became. Jamie glanced back. You okay? Sam smiled. Feels good. The air's different already. Colder, Jamie said. Cleaner, Sam corrected. His mother laughed softly from the driver's seat. They drove in easy silence for miles, sometimes talking, sometimes just letting the landscape do the speaking. When the coast finally appeared, it did so slowly, first as a shimmer between fields, then as a sweep of light that seemed to breeze. The air shifted, salt finding its way into the car, like a remembered language. Jamie leaned his head back, whispering, "Almost there." They reached the final bend as the sun began to set. The cottage appeared ahead, small, familiar, its windows glowing like lanterns. Smoke curled from the chimney. Jamie's breath caught. Sam leaned forward to see, and for a moment, everything stilled. The road, the sea, the day. Edward was already at the door when the car engine quieted. He stood in the light of the open frame, sleeves rolled, hair a little more silver than the last time Jamie saw him. Jamie stepped forward, arms wrapping around him. Edward laughed, caught between surprise and delight. "Well now, I wasn't expecting that kind of a hello. Get in before the kettle screams itself hoarse." Inside, the house smelled of salt and wood smoke. The fire was lit. The same chair was still beside the window. The same sound of the sea pressing softly at the walls. Sam stopped in the entryway, shoulders loosening as he breathed in. The kettle whistled. Cups found hands. Pastries vanished faster than anyone admitted to taking them. The house filled with the small sounds that make up belongings, spoons clinking, laughter soft enough to blend with wind. After tea, Jamie's mother disappeared into the kitchen, muttering something about dinner and garden herbs. Edward stayed in the living room, sorting through the mail that had gathered by the door. Jamie and Sam went upstairs carrying the brown-wrapped gift, then returned back with unwrapped frame. "What's that?" Edward asked. Jamie set it on the table. The light caught the oak first, pale and clean, the carved twin wave pattern faint but sure. Inside the glass, 2 letters lay side by side. Edward's, one sealed but now forever open, and Arthur's, its edges softened by time. Edward didn't move at first. His eyes traced the shape of it. The lines, the grain, the way the letters seemed to lean toward each other even now. "You framed them," he whispered. Jamie nodded. Edward exhaled, something deep and quiet leaving him all at once. Jamie swallowed, words catching behind the worms in his throat. "We just wanted you to have them close." Edward nodded, eyes glistening. He hung the frame above the sideboard, adjusting it once, then stepping back. The firelight caught the glass, turning it gold. Jamie's mother came out of the kitchen, wiping her hands on a towel. "So that's what you were hiding in the car. It's beautiful." The 4 of them stood there for a moment. Later, when the dishes were stacked, and Edward had gone to bed, Jamie and Sam slipped up to the attic. The surfboard leaned against the wall, as though it had been waiting for them. The carved twin wave still faint but whole. Edward had left a note next to it. "Jamie, she's yours now." Jamie touched the board, tracing the groove of the carving. Sam stood beside him, eyes on the distant line of moonlight spilling across the water. They stayed that way for a while, the sound of the wave threading through the quiet. Below them, the fire burned low. The house slept. This was Shoreline Secrets, Letters to Keep. Thank you for listening, for remembering, and for keeping a little piece of Shoreline Secret World with you. If you enjoyed it, please press like, subscribe, and follow Gay Audiobooks. And find more stories in the channel, like Autumn Tales and Men Being Too Intimate.